Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. We're going to be talking about business warfare this morning. So be a friend, tell a friend, and I'll be right back in about 2-3 minutes. See you in a few.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee. And he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I have told you the first part of my life, I was a farmer in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Nobody there was looking at me flying and you thought that I would ever be a scientist teaching the world.
Yes, sir.
See, it is time that brings all that.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel, where we talk about life, love, and business. And this morning, it was so important to me and just came on so strong this week to talk about business warfare. Because some of us are so sweet, you know, we go into business making our cakes and our pies and doing all the things that we do. And we just think that everybody's going to be happy for us and it's just all going to work out and it's just so beautiful. And then you realize that somebody's plotting against you, or sometimes you go out of business because you don't even realize that somebody is plotting against you. And then once we figure it out, we don't realize it's part of the game. So today we're just going to talk about that a little bit so that you can get out in front of this kind of stuff by being a good business planner. Okay. Excuse me. I came to, excuse me, Georgia this week thinking that I would escape the Chicago cold. No, it's cold. It's cold down here. And it feels colder for some reason. I think it's just expectation. It's like when I go to Northern California and it's cold and it's 39 degrees and I'm like, wait, what? But it was 27 degrees in Atlanta the last couple of days, like in the evening. During the day, it warmed up yesterday into the 50s, which was good. I'm on a tour, retracing the footsteps of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's my effort to just get to know him better. I'm the kind of person, the way my spiritual gifts work, when I go places, I can absorb the energy of the place and draw a connection to the people. And I definitely believe that that was accomplished in the last couple of days, and hopefully today as well. And I'll share more about that with you guys about that as I finish processing it in my spiritual brain and my heart and all of that. In the meanwhile, just need your continued support. But in preparing for this trip and thinking about um, business and warfare and strategy, I realized how powerful history is when it comes to strategy, life strategy, business strategy, political strategy, government strategy, you name it. And when you understand history, as we're taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that history is the most qualified, right? As a teacher, I'm paraphrasing there. History is really good when you're strategizing. And what is the root of that? People throw that concept away because they've been deprived of history, and so they assume that there are new strategies and new techniques and that people are doing new things, when in actuality there's that phrase, there's nothing new under the sun, is somewhat true. When you're living in a world built by a made mind, meaning that a mind that has been designed with boundaries and that is finite, versus a created mind. Okay, a created mind has the infinity in creativity, just like the creator itself. So a creative mind is an infinite mind. But a made mind is a finite and contained and living mind. And we know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about the mind of the made man and the mind of the created man. And so, in learning who we are so that we can begin to accept ourselves, it's important that we understand who we are and that we are not made men. So we don't, men and women, so we don't put those limitations on ourselves. The key thing here as it relates to business warfare in that is that the made mind doesn't really create. It just subtracts, it divides, it steals, and it once it gets a pattern, it repeats it. And it will repeat it like a broken record. It'll repeat it like a loop in a song. So history is very important because if you can understand the process that was taking place historically, and you can understand, let's say in a case like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where we're chasing his footsteps, if you can really come to understand the system and the process that was taking place as he was navigating his journey of life, and you can better understand his emotional response and the making of his vessel and the making of him so that he can walk right up into his divine assignment. When you can understand those two, then you can in fact develop that strategy in your own life to overcome difficulties. Here's the mistake we make with powerful and spiritual people. We get around them. Excuse me, I don't know what's wrong with my throat this morning in this Georgia weather. Excuse me. We get around those people that we consider creative and powerful and somebody that we want to mimic, somebody that we've loved from afar. It's like you probably have thought that Beyonce or Idris Elba is just so beautiful and so fine, and then you get up on them and you find yourself dissecting their faults. The question is, who are you? When you get up on them, are you basking in the beauty that you always thought was there, or are you dissecting their faults and then saying, they're human, they're just like me, I can do what they do? Here's the problem with that. When you go into the fault dissection and you start thinking, well, she's a little heavier than I thought, she looks a little older than I thought, she's a little shorter than I thought, or I'm saying if you met Beyonce, for example, and let's say you start doing all of that, and then you decide that she ain't all that, in essence. We had a whole show about that, but it levels out some, and you go, okay, I get it. Maybe it levels out. But then your big mistake is then you start trying to be them. So then you start saying, well, I'm going to be Beyonce. I'm going to be this person. I'm going to copy off of what I see them do, because what's underlying the mimicking and the copying that I'm doing is the fact that I really now got a problem with them. Now, if you find yourself wanting to mimic or model certain behaviors and certain traits and certain practices that you see that person use, that actually works. But underneath the modeling has to be, you can't counteract the modeling energy with being a hater. Underneath it has to be some admiration there. Like, I really admire how she did her hair, or I really admire how this particular thing took place, or with the clothes they wear, or the accomplishments I really, 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 really admire that. And then you start modeling. Now the modeling is laying on a more positive vibration. But if you call yourself modeling, but it's laying on top of a negative mindset, a hater mindset, a destructive mindset, I want to take over, I want to do what they do. I don't like them now, or now I see they're human, or they ain't all that. Whatever that negative vibration is that you led with, and then you try to model that person, you see, it's not going to work. And then guess what's going to happen? You're going to make mistakes. You're going to start hurting yourself. You're going to look up, and then you're going to be in a worse condition from following that person, because you weren't following them because you admired them, so you modeled them. You were following them because you were jealous and you want to be better than them, and you feel like you can do better, and you feel like they ain't all that. Now you done got up on them, and you done dissected them, and looked at all the negative things, and that's what's running in your brain. Now you try to do what they do, and you fall flat on your face, start making mistakes. And now you want to tell everybody, yeah, don't do what they do. Don't do what they do, because it don't work. I tried it. I was doing it for years. No, it's you. So history is important, because when you understand a person's journey, when you understand what they've been through, you can better model, okay, the mindset and the behavior, and you can then understand what you can incorporate more and use to develop and push out what's inside of you. So history is a very powerful process. And with the idea that so much history has been taken out of the school system, it says a lot about the way our youth think and are going to think. And for a lot of us who don't even know history, because here's the thing, somebody can come up to you and say, you know what, Wendy, you should just do A, B, C, and D. And if I have no historical context on what they're talking about, why they're saying it, and then I go and do it, I'm walking into trap after trap after trap, and I'm being controlled, one situation after another, till pretty soon somebody is orchestrating my moves. And my success is even being controlled. Right? Very interesting. So I want to walk through give me some feedback in the chat if you all get that. I want to walk through a few things about business warfare, because many of you have begun to reach out to me. We're going to be opening up to set consulting clients up for the beginning of the year and the latter part of December. A lot of y'all don't work the last couple of weeks of the year. Some people just spend that time planning. I actually do. I do work, and I do a lot of planning during that time. So we can open the schedule for a minute. But many of you have talked about how you're beginning your strategic planning. And in beginning your strategic planning, you're trying to figure out, like, what exactly do I need to be working on? And when I start to work with you and coach you, I'm opening your mind up to what your competition is more than likely going to be doing. Most of these companies out here, okay, are data and information gatherers. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Knowledge is power. Data and information gatherers. Somebody type that in the chat. Knowledge is power. Because if you pay attention, especially if you have a retail space, it's real easy to see. When you first open your restaurant, you first open your clothing store, you first open up, you start getting a lot of people popping through asking questions. And one of the things that they may do is ask your staff questions. I'm always instructing my staff on how to respond to certain things, what to say, because I know that what these people do is they go into your business, or they send people into your business to gather data. How many people, when we had the hospital, we first started, people would just call and ask questions at the front desk. How many people work there? Who's the owner? How many owners are there? How many doctors are there? What services do you guys do? So you start getting all of these questions. And you'll get that. People will meander into your retail space and look around. Oh, that's nice. Where'd you find that at? And they'll literally start asking you questions. They'll try to ask you things like, where'd you find your reception desk? Sometimes it's a neighbor, sometimes it's a landlord, but it's somebody coming in gathering data. And you have to be very mindful of that as a business owner. This is a business warfare strategy. Okay. Be mindful of what information you give to your employees, to your friends. I know people who every move they make, there's at least 10 people that know everything that they're doing. That is a nail in the coffin if you're trying to have health, if you understand the power of business warfare. Why? Because those 10 people may be very close to you. Maybe your parents, maybe your sibling, maybe your spouse. Those 10 people may be very, very close to you. And all a person has to do is be with you through the course of the day. And they see all these different people calling you. They'll say, oh, yeah. And you're saying, oh, yeah. I'm sitting here with Sally. Yep, we heading to the next meeting. And you're literally giving all your details to each of those 10 persons. And it becomes very obvious to the person sitting with you that you've actually spoken to all 10 of these people about your strategy, or just literally about your itinerary and what you're doing. Okay. Guess what? One of your competitors has a real simple task then. Those 10 people you talk to, probably at least 5 of them will have a competitor shadowing them, hanging out with them, somebody looking to hurt you because they know they can get information about you from a distance and then use that to strategize against you. Listen, business is warfare, and you better accept this. You can't just decide, I'm going to just make cookies and open up a store on the corner, because somebody's going to come at you. People are going to go in there and say, go buy some. Let's see, are they store-bought cookies? Did she make them? What kind of ingredients did she put in? People are dissecting everything you do. So first thing you got to do is be aware of that. Okay, let me read this to you. Knowledge is power. Know the enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 100 battles with no danger of defeat. This is from The Art of Warfare. If you're ignorant to both of your enemy and yourself, you are sure to be defeated in every battle. It's one of the most important lessons in the art of war. You may call people being nosy, but a lot of companies go so far as to send mercenaries. You have ghost shoppers, ghost buyers, ghost patients, ghost business people. There are some people who will pretend like they want to present to you a business idea, or you may have somebody say to you, hey, I want to present you to at a conference I'm going to, and then they'll say, how can I get some information? They're gathering data because they either are competing against you, or maybe they just want to do what you do and they don't want to ask you, but they're gathering data a lot of times. A lot of times that stuff is fake. Y'all see these fake people that text you and say, hey, could you use a loan? Why? Because they want your data. They want you to go into their fake application, put all your information in. Now they got everything about you that they can use either to compete against you, to destroy you, or to just steal your information. Happens all the time. People will ghost you. And so you got to know what information. I have a strategy on and I have levels of information release. I have an initial level, which is a foundational level, which is kind of like the public information that is out. And then I have the next level, which might be if we get a little closer, or if we decide that we're going to go into business with, then I may have a more deeper level that if we do become business partners. So I have different levels and different layers of information that I will access or release. So therefore, if somebody is being a mercenary, or if they're just saying, I just want to see how she do her stuff, I just want to see it, and then they want to copy, they want to look at your presentation, whatever reason it is, okay, it doesn't matter to me, because more than likely what I will give at that level is things that are public anyway. And this has always been important for me as a business consultant, because we don't tell our business. Why? Because we're working with clients all the time and their business is confidential, and we have a fiduciary relationship to keep that information confidential. So I remember somebody who had been modeling me, but in a negative way. Because see, I'm the kind of person, I'm gonna give you examples of my life. I'm gonna tell you what I've learned. Y'all know that's all I do on this show, and talk about what I've learned, what I've gone through. And I don't mind you taking it and using it and folding it into your life. But when you start trying to hang around and you want to do it because you're really a hater, and you really want to prove like, she ain't all that, right? When you really trying out to prove that, it don't work out for you. So anyway, I had a person around me who was doing that. Like, they was attempting to kind of mimic everything that I do so that they could reduce the insecurities within themselves, right? So when they would go around people and somebody would say, "Oh my God, Sajdah such and such and such," they could say, "Well, I do this and I do that, and I don't know what she's talking about because I've been doing this for that's that amateur, elementary way that a lot of people move and manipulate. Again, let me tell you something about how you deal with great people. You deal with people that are highly spiritual, even people like myself that have a deep professional intuition for whatever it is that I do. When you are around that person, acknowledge, bask in, and absorb the energy that you feel from your interaction with that person, because 9 times out of 10, that person's energy is being designed to support and build and love you. This is for true good people. For myself, 9 times out of 10, if you come around me, I'm already in my brain thinking about how I can help, how I can contribute. So that's already communicating from my mind to your subconscious, or maybe even your conscious if we have that conversation. So that's already circulating through your DNA. So if you're feeling a certain way, you don't got to hate, just bask in that. And if I have anything to do with it, I'm going to be able to help you. But if you go, I'm just going to dissect and take and subtract and let me see what I can get, it's not going to work out for you. Reason why it's not going to work out for you, because 9 times out of 10, if you meet somebody that has a lot of breadth and a lot of depth and a lot of spiritual connection to what it is that they do, then that means that they're not operating within their own intellectual capacity. That means it's another force greater than them that's encouraging them, empowering them, that they're hooked into, or that they at least know how to hook into at certain points in time, that's fueling them to do what they do. It's going to be a problem for you if you just do the blind mimicking thing. What you want to do is not mimic the actions, but mimic the energy. And then the energy will then tell you what to do. Mimic the vibration. And then the vibration is then going to direct everything about you within the sovereignty of you. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Anyway, self-knowledge, knowledge of your competition is important. Why is self-knowledge in business so important? Because it's important to accurately understand our real strengths, okay, and weaknesses. If we cannot do that, we will be able to become more effective in business if we can do that. Not if we cannot do that. We have to understand, we have to know ourselves. We have to understand our own strengths and weaknesses in our business. Every decision that you make in business, when you sit down with a master business person or somebody who's advanced at another level, and we start walking through your historic decisions, it tells me everything about you. I'm not judging it. I'm using that data so that I can figure out how to help you with the next move that you just hired me for. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me keep going down here. You also want to know this, and this is where a lot of us fail. You got to know your competition. You got to know who your competitors are. You got to know what they have on you, what they don't. You got to know what's similar and what's different. You got to be able to put yourself in the mind's eye of the customer. What do they see when they see them? What do they see when they see you? What is it? Okay. And this not only is going to help you develop your niche, because you may find when you start studying your competition that in one particular aspect of what you want to do, there's a lot of competition. So you may say, I want to tweak this a little bit, but you got to know your competition. Trust me, your competition knows you. And if they don't already know you, they know who you are, and they have already studied your moves, so they know whether or not to consider you a competitor on their level as well. And it's a strategy you can use with that by not letting people know your every move and know everything about you, those layers of information that you release. Okay. Looking carefully into things. Sun Tzu says our chances of winning are reduced by half if we do not know our enemy. Okay. What does it mean? A lot of people, like I said, there's ghost shoppers, there's ghost patients. We would have patients that come in and ain't nothing wrong with them. People come in and just make an appointment because they want to understand what your appointment process is like. They may just purchase something from you because they want to understand what it's like. They want to trace the steps back. Who she used to process payments? What's the packaging look like? How was it sent to me? Because they're really trying to steal data, or they're trying to figure out how to intervene, or they just want to know. They just want the data because they're trying to figure out what to do themselves. It could be any number of reasons. People will, as I mentioned, they will call you and say, hey, I wanted to talk to you about doing business with you. And they might even be a little friendly and get close to you and say, I want to talk to you because I think I can make a presentation, about you or whatever. And then they'll ask you for information. And like I said, I have levels of information that I'll give out to people. And once I get into business with you and I know we're about to sign the contract and we go into that next level and we're negotiating, then there's more information that I'll give. But you just have to have layers of it. Some of it that you don't mind going around. And always remember that every time you have contact with somebody, you should be in sales mode. I don't care if a friend introduces you to a friend, then you're in sales mode. Now, maybe it's not your hardcore sales mode that you're in certain cases, but it might be a soft sale. It has to be some way that you're presenting yourself, because remember, everybody knows somebody who knows somebody. And 9 times out of 10, if you got a little notoriety about yourself, again, using the Beyonce thing, you could be a doctor. So I'm like, okay, I know Dr. Jones. And then somebody said, oh, you know Dr. Jones? Then that person started hanging out with your friend who says that they know Dr. Jones. And now that person is getting all the information about Dr. Jones because Dr. Jones shares everything with this person and probably 10 others. All right. Let's see. Number 2, I'm going to run through these because I'm talking along on all of them. Build the right team. Okay. When the troops are united, the brave cannot advance alone, nor can the cowardly retreat. Really quickly, if you want to succeed in business, you cannot operate alone. Now, unless you're just an independent contractor. And some people say, hey, I just really want to be an independent contractor. I'm not trying to employ anybody. I've done independent contracting work a lot. I've done it where I've had teams where I had to hire and employ people. So you can do a little bit of both. There's nothing wrong with that, but you want to build the right team. So even if you're an independent contractor, you got to have go-to people or go-to resources. Okay. Or go-to people that are resources is what I was going to say. So you're still building a good team. And so be very careful of that team. That team might be friends and family members who, a couple of which are also independent contractors. I know there's those of us in my family, and a lot of us have gone into some of the same fields and we're independent contractors. Some have businesses. And so we talk to each other. Okay. And even with that, if you come from a big family and you just got drafted to the NFL, and trust me, there are people trying to get close to your family members so they can get information about you, and you can put them on. It's just how it is. All right, build the right team. Building the right team. We're going to talk about that some more. If you peruse around the Sajdah channel, if you like this channel, this information means anything to you, please support Cash App Sajdah Enterprises. Send a little support, send a little love, because y'all know I'm always giving these strategies to y'all for free. Or hit that super chat button down there. Or you can see going across the bottom how you can support the channel. But like and subscribe and tell a friend. Okay. But what I was going to say is, in some of the past episodes, I've done shows on the art and the strategy of hiring, and how to behavioral interview people, how to interview and tease out the type of person that you're looking to hire in a position, how to even put your job description and your expectations together so that you know what kind of person to go out and look for. There's that too. But that's here on the channel. So if you like and subscribe and peruse around, you'll see all those videos on here. Number 3, create a solid but flexible plan. You always want to make sure that you stay nimble in your business. Part of the problem with a lot of these businesses, you hear this in the news all the time, too big to fail. You got these big companies out here. GM used to be one of them. And they're so big that they're not pliable. They're not nimble. They can't shift on the dime. So to just get one thing done requires so much. You have some organizations that are very bureaucratic. So if you go and present something to them, really it's where they are, where dreams go to die. And why do dreams go to die with them? Because there's so much bureaucracy in order for them to even move. And so everybody inside of the organization is caught up and stuck in that mud of the bureaucracy, the mud of the corporate dogma, and they're stuck and they can't move. And so the competition it makes it easy to take those people down. You can easily attack their outposts, because by the time they respond to your first attack, you've already attacked 2 or 3 other sites. Okay. This is a huge issue in business, because a lot of times when we're developing our business and our organizational styles and operations, we are mimicking what we've seen in the business and social and nonprofit world. And generally, those are old business models that don't work anymore. And so we build these, and you see it a lot in Black organizations. We build these big, thick, bureaucratic organizations that just to get them to sign a marketing contract requires an act of God. That's a very, very poor warfare stance, because it's easy to move on you. And then generally, when you develop that kind of thick bureaucratic organization, you don't have the loyalty of your people. You have a bunch of box checkers inside of your organization, because they can't move either. They just check the box, check the box. Would I wear my vest today? Did I do this? Did I do that? They're just box checking. So now you don't have unity among your staff. You can't really build a good team of people, because there's so much bureaucracy that not only do the people who deal with you feel smothered and stifled and like their dream is about to die at your footstep, but the people inside feel smothered and start to die on the inside. They will respond in the right way to make you think that they're good, because in your bureaucracy, you've taught them how to respond. But in terms of getting real feedback, you're not ever going to get it, because you're too thick and you're too bureaucratic and you're not flexible and you're not pliable and you can't move quickly. You never want your organization to get so thick like that where you can't move quickly. And there are strategies that we can talk about and how you break down um, the bureaucracy in your company. I call it debureaucracy, bureaucratizing your company. But you can break down the functions, starting with a board or the people at the top, and then understanding how to create certain silos so that that person at the top isn't in charge of operations and decision making, but they can be the decision maker, the strategy person, but then you put your strategic or your doers or your operational people under them, and then they each have to have legs. So we can work all of that out. But in warfare, always remember, if you get too thick, too slow, too big to move, too bureaucratic, too corporate, too much corporate dogma, you're a sitting duck. And I guarantee you that I can come to your organization and I can point out 3 or 4 things and show you how your enemy or your competitors have attacked you and withered away at your outpost. It's very easy to see. Number 4, grow your network. Okay. Always find ways to get around better and smarter people. Connect and tie yourself with people who are really smart. Don't be so quick to go for numbers. This is the distractive strategy that is used right now in corporate, and that everybody wants to go for numbers and popularity. And like I said, here's why it's a problem. In the real business world, where we make real money on business contracts and negotiating and things like that, if we look on your social media and all your businesses out there, and every time I look up, you got a celebrity picture. No offense, some people, their business model is that. I'm just showing you what happens in these deep development circles. What they look for when people are looking at clearance, they want to make sure you're normal. They want you to look human. So they don't want you to have a generic site or a generic scrub of your social media. They want you to look like you're a human being. They don't want to hire a cyborg or a weird person. But if that potential client who has secrets or corporate secrets that they're going to give you access to can sense that you're going to be on your page, on your social media, telling their business, you're not going to get the contract. And I'm telling you this because I've been through these clearances so many times with major companies, and they scrub. And believe it or not, see, the pop culture mixes us up, because in pop culture says, okay, you can't be spiritual, you can't be a Muslim, don't post no pictures of the minister, it's controversial. And so that's a pop culture type of thing. But a lot of times in corporate, we start talking about corporate strategies and hiring independent contractors. That disciplined person, that person that looks like they're really devout Christians or really deeply into their Islamic faith, that might be the person to hire, because there's certain principles and certain strategies within that person's personal operating strategy, because of their spiritual beliefs, that are beneficial to me as a business person, as opposed to I'm looking on their social media page and I see certain behaviors that I just might not want inside of the inner sanctums of my strategy team. Might be okay for the front desk, because people at the front desk who see people that are like them are more likely to come shop there or do business there. Does that make sense to y'all? All right, so grow your network. That's the next one. What time is it? Okay. And then, and we'll talk about this later, but learn how to build upon your success. Here's what happens to us. We have a success. It's like you are a new artist and you come out with your first album, first single, and it's a smash, and it's charts, and it's being downloaded everywhere. And then you hear me come sing my song. And then I throw you off your game because now you over here trying to be like me. You done forgot about the success you had doing what you were doing and the elements of success that you can build upon. Now you over here trying to be like me. Now you over here, you done changed up. No. If I was coaching you, I would teach you about discovering your authenticity, your authentic self, what makes you you, that thing about you, that thing about your business that nobody else can touch or do. They can come close, but there's something about you that I'm going to help you bring that out. You might be on a block where 4 of y'all make chocolate chip cookies, and they may all, after a while, they're going to all taste the same. Be like, oh, that's a good chocolate chip cookie. Okay, that one's good too. Okay, I kind of like that one too. After a while, they're going to all taste the same. All right. But what is it about your shop? What is the experience when they get inside of your shop? What is it about the way you interacted with them or your staff interacted with them when they came into your shop? What was it that was so authentic? Was it the colors? Was it the smells? What was the vibration when they came into your space? See, a lot of these mediocre companies end up making millions of dollars because they create a vibe. And people are buying access to the vibe. They're buying the experience and not buying the product. They don't even realize that you over there in your shop next door, that's just ma and pa and minimal, that you got better chocolate chip cookies, but these people got a vibe. You see? All right. And avoid the unavoidable is what he says. By taking into account the unfavorable factors, you may avoid possible disasters. He talks about considering factors that can cause problems before advancing into any situation to avoid defeat. Okay. Now, what do we mean by that? If I'm doing a product or service analysis for you, we're going to break down what are the attributes of that product or service and what could potentially cause a problem, and we're going to figure out how to mitigate that risk. Okay, is it your low staff? Is it your slow shipping times? Is it the fact that you got to make everything by hand? What is it? Is it the fact that you rely on a certain type of vanilla from Madagascar, and right now you can't hardly get it? That kind of thing. We'll talk about that. And so you want to address that ahead of time. So avoid the avoidable. It's just planning. Okay. We just plan it out. We may find out that once we get access to it, that we need to get you a line of credit because you need to buy a whole lot of it and stock up. And then we got to figure out what's the storage times. Does it really matter? So there's all these intricate things that I would help you with. Number 7, remember that timing is everything. Timing. And this is where your business intuition comes in. When you begin to study this industry and this process and it's mulling in your mind and you know it so well that certain aspects of the data become intuitive, or you almost become psychic in the field. This is why a lot of times news analysts, they'll bring certain people on and say, hey, well, what do you think about this player? Or I'm thinking about sports analysts. What do you think about this player? Do you think so-and-so is going to win? A lot of that is professional intuition. Yeah, they're talking to you about the data and what they think and all of that. But the real deal is there's also a huge amount of intuition, psychic ability almost that's in there, and they're just telling you what they see, what they feel, what they know, and it's not purely tactical. See, last thing I'll tell you, if you hire a consultant that doesn't have receipts, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, and I'm not hating on nobody, a consultant or a coach that doesn't have receipts in a certain area, understand that all you're going to get is theory, because that person does not necessarily have the what I call the professional intuition in that area to be able to tell you exactly what move you need to make, or even possibly even coach and analyze you and help you figure out strategy. I was really big on understanding vendor strategy when we were building and developing the surgery centers. I deal with that with my clients now. Let's talk about vendor strategies. There's one thing about vendors and salespeople is that they run their mouth. So they will come into your business. They're going to learn everything about you. They got your information because they got your application when you applied for credit, or when you know, put your license up to be able to purchase the product or whatever you had to do. And then they go to the next business and they tell everything. They run their mouth at the point where a lot of times now, a lot of clinical salespeople can't even go and access the inside. I know I never let salespeople who are selling medical equipment free access to our facility. And a lot of hospitals do that. Once they get in, they got a badge, they all over the place getting all the information. And they go from place to place to place and they tell all your business. Okay. That's important to know, because that then can expose some of your trade secrets or your next moves. And then next thing you know, maybe somebody who's a little more nimble and maybe got a little bit more money can do your program and plan faster and better than you can. And then you find yourself pivoting. I've seen this so many times. So we'll talk about that, but we'll also help you analyze time. We'll help you understand how to put together a timeline, how to collapse that timeline if needed, because there's a natural timeline that comes with the delivery of the products and services. And then there are ways that we can collapse that timeline so that we can move faster, see faster results. We talk about that. There are ways in which we can take advantage of the time. So let's say people come in and they order you selling fried chicken, and they order your fried chicken, and there's a wait time because you're frying everything back there, and they ask for something special. You don't have it. Let's say there's a 10-minute wait time for this extra item that they wanted. Well, in that 10 minutes, as they're waiting inside of your business, what do they see? What do they hear? What is their experience there? And how do we take advantage of that time? In the wellness or the massage industry, where we also do skincare, for example, if you come in and get a facial, then I'm not going to let you just pay for your facial and leave out the door, because I know if you really like how I help your face look, then you're going to want to maintain that. So if I'm saying to you, hey, here's this product line and you should try this, and I want you doing this in the next 30 days, and that product line is $250, 9 times out of 10, you're going to buy it because you want to maintain the look. Whether you were dealing with an acne problem or blackheads, or you just like the way it made your skin glow. You're like, man, I like this. I'm feeling this. Well, guess what? I can upsell you in that time, from that time that you walk out of the skincare room to the front desk. In that period of time, not only are you going to pay whatever, let's say I charged you 150 for the facial, 9 times out of 10 before you walk out the door, they're going to get you for another 200, and it's going to make sense. Why? Because you want to maintain that. You're going to need some of those serums. You're going to need this cream. You need this, you need that, because you're trying to maintain that look. All right. So timing, talk about how to deal with time for the customers, time with the staff, timelines for the product, goods, and services, timelines for manifesting and making the company a vibrational match with the projections that you have. See, everything's a math problem. So when you make your projections, even as a person, if you say next year I'm going to make $250,000, it's not let me work more. It's how do I become a vibrational match with that $250,000? If you say, well, my company is going to make $3 million next year. All right. So how is your company going to vibrate and make that $3 million? Because this year you only made 300,000. So what's going to be done differently? How are we vibrating differently? And how is that going to translate into the business decisions that we make so that we can get to that $3 million next year? All right. Let me talk to y'all in the chat real quick before we go. Again, as I mentioned, I've been busy this week tracing the footsteps of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I really feeling closer to him than ever. I can feel his presence much, very strong, very strong. And I'm processing what I'm feeling and what I'm dealing with and what's igniting in me, and I'll share more of that as we move along. All right, so let's see who we got in here. Sister Betty, happy Wednesday, sis. We got Brother Lamont says, good morning, assalamu alaikum, happy Thursday. Good morning, wa alaikum salam. Robert 11X Minor says, assalamu alaikum, safe travels. Thank you. Knowledge is power. That is exactly right. Good morning, Nubia Latifa. Welcome, sis. Benny Chris TV says, lady, you truly make the world go around flawless. Oh, that's beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Brother Jamil Muhammad says, assalamu alaikum. Thank you for always teaching us. Wa alaikum salam, sir. Sister Kamaria Muhammad says, assalamu alaikum. Thank you for giving us the knowledge. Wa alaikum salam, sis. You are welcome. Oh, okay. I see some of y'all be in chat. I see a lot of y'all on here today. Y'all like these business warfare type of conversations? We can have more of them, and we can actually go deeper if you guys want. I don't mind doing a weekly business strategy series. We can do it right on Coffee Talks, where we're just talking through business warfare, especially now especially now when we are in the planning stages for the next year in our lives, the next calendar or Gregorian year in our business. I'll tell you something. For me, my birthday is August 30th. And so my new year for me, my fiscal year, my personal spiritual fiscal year begins September 1st. So I'm already into my new year. It's just kind of the way I like to think of things. But I do understand from a business standpoint, because you're dealing in a business world where everybody else is on that Gregorian calendar. Year end is December 31st. And then there are business cycles that move along that you got to understand and respect. So, for example, again, I go back to healthcare. We would be our busiest around the holidays, because as a vascular team, that's when most heart attacks and strokes and people get stressed out and blood clots. Unfortunately, it's not just diet. It's a lot of high cortisol levels and stress levels. That happens a lot, okay, during that time of year. So we get really busy. And then going into the beginning part of the year, people are renewing their insurance is kicked back up. They got to make appointments. It's time to get that procedure. And so we're really busy then, January, February, March, April. come May, June, July, things start to slow down. People ain't really trying to go to the doctor in the summer. They trying to go on vacation with their family. The children are out of school. So we see a slowdown in the business that picks back up with back to school and people getting back to their routines in September, October. So, and a lot of business has cycles like that. Okay. Stop looking at your business like it's the drug game where you just gonna be getting it every time you step out on the corner. There's vicissitudes with this. All right. So yeah, I like that idea for a series. I'll put something together and start putting it out there so we can go and check it out. We may do maybe like 3-4 days straight and do some business warfare. So, okay, family, thank you very much. I appreciate you. As I'm processing um, what I'm feeling and what I realize I connected to this week in tracing the footsteps of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I will share what makes sense and what I can, but I will tell you that it's definitely ignited something in me and created a connection that I'm still processing. So thank you everyone. Appreciate you all for being here. Inshallah, we'll be here tomorrow morning. Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. We got another very special message tomorrow. Go out here, make sure you like and subscribe. Please support SajdahHouse.com. You can use the QR code to visit our virtual gift shop, get you some stuff out there. We got a big shipment of things going out Friday. So thank you to everybody who participated in our Cyber Monday deal. We got some of it out Tuesday. We're going to send some more stuff out Friday. So get in that next shipment that's going out Friday. Or if you just say, you know what, I just want to support, go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, or then the Zelle is there as well. All right. And if you want to book me, go to booksajdahwendymuhammad.com. You want to do some coaching, consulting, want to partner up with something, let's talk about it. All right. Peace and blessings, family. I love you all, and I will see you all, inshallah, tomorrow morning for Friday morning coffee talks. All right. Peace and blessings.
Number one, we want freedom. We want a full and complete freedom. Number two, we want justice, equal justice under the law of justice. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed or class or color. Third, we want equality of opportunity. We want equal membership in a good society, a society of righteousness, a society of civilized people who believe in peace, who believe in practice peace and kindness.